At 7:40 a.m., a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone held position at 240 meters above the M01 highway northeast of Kyiv, watching a Russian armored column roll bumper to bumper through the morning haze. More than 20 vehicles, tanks to thermobaric launcher, spaced 15 meters apart on a 4-lane road. Parade formation, not combat spacing. In the next 35 minutes, this column stops being a spearhead and becomes an inventory of wreckage. The crews didn't know it yet. In the lead T-72B3, 3 men rode with hatches open and 8 kilometers left to Kyiv. No idea the road ahead had been measured to the meter, that missile teams in the tree lines were holding fire by choice, or that the fields on both flanks were a second weapon. And the one tank that escapes this ambush is about to learn the kill zone was never just the road. The drone wasn't alone. For 2 days, the eastern defense of Kyiv had been watching this axis through a fused picture. Drone video, ground observers, and villagers phoning in column positions the moment they passed a fence line. By the time the regiment reached the village of Skybyn, the 72nd Mechanized Brigade had turned the approach into a measured space. A Stugna-P launcher sat dug in 2,600 meters southwest with a clean line of sight down the highway. An NLAW team waited in a roadside ditch where the road bends. Artillery batteries were laid on pre-registered grid squares bracketing 500 meters of asphalt. And a single marksman covered the drainage ditch that any crew on foot would run for, the only covered route off that field. The drone operators had their own clock running. Russian direction-finding equipment could locate a drone's control signal within minutes and answer with mortar fire. So the team launched, flew, and displaced, never transmitting twice from the same field. The drone overhead carried 40 minutes of battery. The column needed 8 more kilometers. The ambush needed the column to keep believing the road was empty for 6 more minutes. Everyone was racing a different number. At 7:46, the lead T-72B3 reached the bend. The NLAW gunner had watched it grow in his sight for 90 seconds. His missile's combat range topped out at 800 meters, and every instinct said fire early. But an early miss scatters a column before the trap closes around it. So he waited. 700 meters. 600. The tank's engine note dropped as the driver slowed for the curve. At 380 meters, he fired, and the missile did the one thing the T-72's designers never solved. It flew over the turret and punched down through the top deck, where the armor is a fraction of the frontal plate, directly above the carousel of stacked ammunition. The lead tank didn't get a fighting end. It became a burning roadblock on a road with no room to pass it. 500 meters back, at the column's tail, before the first smoke cleared the tree line, the Stugna-P operator settled his crosshair on the trail vehicle and fired from 2,600 meters. The missile rode a laser beam for 11 seconds, long enough for a target to hide, if the target knew it was coming. This one was watching Kyiv on a map. The tandem warhead spent its first charge on the reactive armor and its second on the hull behind it. Now the column had no front and no rear. On the drone feed, the geometry told the whole story. "Lead and trail are dead," the operator called. "They're boxed." More than 20 vehicles stood parked on 500 meters of highway with a fire at each end. At 15 kilometers per hour, the best a heavy column manages while turning in place, clearing that kill zone takes 2 minutes. The Grad rockets already climbing toward it needed 60 seconds. The drivers didn't know the math. The men who had registered those grid squares did. And then it got worse. The first salvo of 122mm rockets arrived as a chord, not a note. A ripple of detonations walking down the column's length, each warhead spraying preformed fragments across a lethal radius wider than the road itself. The rockets didn't need to destroy armor. They needed to destroy decisions. Drivers reversed into the vehicles behind them. Carriers nosed off the shoulder. Hatches slammed. Every choice on that road had narrowed to 2. sit still and wait for the next salvo, or leave the asphalt. The most feared vehicle in the column made the choice look even worse. The TOS-1A, a thermobaric launcher built to erase entrenched infantry with fuel-air rockets, opened fire, not at a target. Its salvo went somewhere into the empty fields, launched by a crew that could not see who was killing them, and shot back at the landscape instead. The column's most terrifying weapon had become its loudest symptom of panic. Then the drone operator saw the movement he'd been told to watch for. A T-72B3 in the center of the column backed hard into the carrier behind it, pivoted on its tracks, climbed the embankment, and dropped into the field on the southern flank. Engine roaring, hull rocking, the only vehicle in the column moving with a destination. This is the tank that thought it escaped. For 90 seconds, it looked right. The tank crossed its first 100 meters of field at speed, the smoke of the burning portal screening it from the southwest. On the drone feed, it shrank toward the tree line. The Stugna operator tracked the shape, lost it, and held his thumb off the trigger. Smoke, lost him. A beam-riding missile needs an unbroken line of sight for the full 11 seconds of flight at that range. And right now, the line was a wall of gray. The one weapon with the reach to stop the tank was blind, and the tank's crew was 30 seconds from the trees. Then the field voted. AT-72B3 weighs 46.5 tons. Its specification sheet promises 35 kilometers per hour cross-country, and the specification sheet assumes ground that can carry 46.5 tons. 8 kilometers east of Kyiv, the thaw had turned the topsoil into black grease over saturated clay, and a tracked vehicle that left the asphalt sank in proportion to its weight. The drone camera caught the exact moment the escape changed character. The right track began throwing mud instead of gripping it. The hull yawed off its line, and forward motion became excavation. Within 40 meters, the tank had buried itself to the road wheels. Throttle only made it deeper. The crew was no longer driving away from the ambush. They were digging their own firing position into the bottom of it. Inside, 3 men ran the arithmetic every tank crew dreads. A stationary tank in an active kill zone is not a tank. It is a target with a countdown attached. The hatches opened and 3 figures went over the side into the mud. They ran for the drainage ditch, the one covered route back toward the road. The marksman had been zeroed on it since dawn. His first round arrived from 600 meters and struck the lip of the ditch a meter ahead of the lead crewman. Not a kill shot, a door closing. The second round closed it again. The crew dropped flat in the open field, pinned between a rifle they couldn't locate and a tank they couldn't re-enter. Above them, the drone descended to 120 meters and began a slow orbit. It was not an attack aircraft. It carried a camera, a radio link, and a single 1.5 kilogram bomb, and it didn't need more. Its job was to be the eye that never blinked, hold the crew on camera, feed their position to the guns, and spend its one bomb only if they reached cover. The men who had outrun a missile ambush were now being herded by a machine that cost less than their tank's gun sight. At 8:07, the column broke. The drone's wide view showed it in one frame, vehicles reversing through their own wreckage, using the 4-lane width that was the only reason most of them survived, grinding back up the M01 the way they had come. Somewhere in that reversal, the regiment's command vehicle was hit, and the colonel commanding the regiment did not leave Skybyn alive. The column that had been promised Kyiv was now promising itself the border. The retreat wasn't a maneuver. It was a formation admitting the road belonged to someone else. But the drone stayed. Its battery read 31%, 12 minutes of loiter at this altitude, and the operator intended to spend them, because the ambush had one piece of unfinished business sitting in a field 300 meters south of the road, and the smoke that had saved it was thinning. At 8:11, the drone operator saw what the smoke could no longer hide. 2 black gouges carved across the field, 40 meters of churned earth, ending at a hull sunk to its fenders with the engine still idling. He read the grid off his screen and keyed the net. Track marks, stationary armor, south field, req right 200. 2,600 meters away, the Stugna operator traversed the launcher off the burning column and settled the crosshair on a tank that could not move, could not shoot back at what it could not see, and could not even close its hatches. Its crew was lying in the mud 100 meters away, watching. The laser found the hull. The line of sight held. This time, there was no smoke to break it. He fired. 11 seconds of flight. The crew in the field heard the launch before they understood it. A flat crack rolling across open ground from a tree line they had never spotted. 10 seconds. The missile tracked down the beam, correcting in centimeters. 5. The drone camera held both in frame. The missile's thin smoke line, the motionless hull. 3. 1. The tank that escaped the ambush burned alone in the field, 300 meters from a road already littered with the vehicles that hadn't tried. The column never reached Kyiv. It reached Skybyn, lost its lead, its trail, its commander, and its nerve, and reversed out of the village it was supposed to drive through without slowing down. The 6th Guards Tank Regiment didn't lose at Brovary because Ukraine fielded a weapon it couldn't match. It lost because it treated a contested highway like a parade route. 15-meter spacing, open hatches, no flank screen. And because every cheap system waiting for it was allowed to do the one thing it was built for. The missile that opened the fight cost roughly $33,000. The tank it destroyed cost $3 million and carried 3 trained men. The drone that directed the endgame cost less than that tank's fire control optics. On one side of the ledger, a guided missile, a rifle, a quadcopter, and a wet field. On the other, the spearhead of a tank regiment, reversing toward the border it came from. And the field is still there. So is the doctrine that sent a column down that road in parade formation. And the next column is already on another highway, convinced that speed is the same thing as safety. The road to Kyiv was never blocked. It was loaded.